Do you want to be in this video? Come here. Come here. Does this look like one giant mustache? Hello DIY friends, welcome back to my channel. I gotta say, I am so excited for this project. We are taking a beautiful antique headboard and using it to create a custom hood vent for my mother-in-law Daphne's new kitchen, which I currently am standing in right now. Ooh la la. Now, this idea is 100% not mine. I cannot take credit. The concept came to fruition because Daphne first saw the project done by Erica, Peony and Honey on social media, which I'm sure many of you follow. And when Daphne saw it, she was like, Danie, you need to do this for me. And I was like, yeah, I do. So here we are officially in Daphne's new home. Actually, for anyone who is familiar with this channel, you'll remember Daphne used to live in a converted church, but she has since moved and there is a lot of construction happening at this home. The kitchen I'm standing in right now actually used to be the dining room, and where the kitchen was is soon going to be renovated into a new living room, and the current living room is soon going to be the new dining room. Basically, we're just playing swapsies in this house everywhere. So the kitchen is actually almost done. There's new pine flooring put in, these custom cabinets were installed, and they are a beautiful almond color. I'm obsessed. The island has a quartz stone top with gold accents in the faucet and hardware, and the back countertops, which are actually scheduled to be installed this week, are going to be a lovely cherry wood. Daphne also has plans to, well, tile the backsplash, which I believe is going to be a nice like creamy white color. So most of the kitchen is staying very neutral, but she's adding color through the lights and through the cafe curtains and just general decor, which I think is perfect. It just makes a room so beautiful and timeless. So my goal is to finish this hood vent, and there was just no way I was going to do this project without sharing it with you all. It's honestly way too cool not to share. So big thanks to Erica for the inspo. Actually, the original project will be linked in my description box if you're curious to see how her version looks in her kitchen with all of her socials. If you don't follow her, please go. All right, let's not waste any more time. I vented, heck, I need a venti. Let's just get this project on the road. So before I start, I wanted to mention that the general framing for the hood vent was installed ahead of time by myself and my husband Jeff. It was a two-person job. Now you'll see some footage here of us working away at it. The vent frame was, I would say, very simple to make. We followed the vent size guidelines and just made sure the restrictions were as followed, as it does need to sit a certain height above your stove, depending on what type of stove you have, and we just simply used 2x4 lumber to create two boxes, one at the top, one at the bottom, added 4 vertical connecting pieces. Now on the sides, this helped make up the width we wanted the hood vent to be, and then the fan actually just sat inside it. But we actually had to add these angle braces in the middle to help the entire frame from drooping forward, because we didn't actually have any joists in the ceiling to attach it to. But you know what? All in all, it worked out alright, and now we can focus on the fun stuff. My first task was to take this thing apart and see what kind of materials I had to work with. Good news is that it came apart super fast and nothing broke in the process. I was feeling like Sid from Toy Story, and I was taking this bad boy apart, and we're gonna put it back together again, but it ain't gonna be the same. Wow, she dusty. Wow, look at all the crap in between the slots. Okay, so check this out. The idea is that this piece is gonna sit right here. We have that little decorative element here, which I'm gonna add on this spot here, and then this will sit out just a little bit, but it's gonna sit here. It's so perfect. Like, the fact that this is just like the perfect width for this entire project is just beyond me. It was so meant to be. Ooh, seeing that decorative element lined up on the front was making me feel so optimistic about this DIY, but before I could make any cuts, I first wanted to attach the 2 bed posts that were going to act as the decorative corner pieces. So my goal was to have the bed posts sit into the corner of the frame so that it just kind of looked like it wrapped around the corner versus sitting on it or beside it. Now, I didn't have a lot of width to play with, so removing material away from the post was the best way to accomplish the look that I wanted without adding any extra width, because I didn't have a lot to play with. Now, to remove the material away from the post, I set up my table saw outside. I adjusted my blade depth to cut about 3/4 of the way through the material and left about a 1/2 inch of material on the front. I was basically just creating an L shape with the post. We love shapes. So now that I knew my new width across the front inside those 2 posts, I was finally able to determine how much I needed to cut. Oh my God, I just mathed and it worked out. Okay, let's go cut this piece. Yay! All right, so the posts were cut and the front decorative detail was ready to go, but I had to stop there because first of all, I just needed Daphne to help me remove the stove out of the way because, you know, I didn't want that on my soul if anything happened to the stove, and I just don't want to break it. But I also needed to add scrap 2x4 lumber to fit inside the framing because I realized that because of the corner post, I didn't have anything to attach my wood on the inside to, so I had to add some extra support to do so. And then the last thing on my day was just to attach the vent system before I actually closed it up with this hood vent. But both Daphne and I had no idea what we were doing, but we figured, how hard can it be? We got 2 brains, 4 hands, and dumb luck on our side. Well, and instructions, to be fair, but I don't even think I read them. Okay, show me a picture. What is that photo? No, but actually it was super easy, and before we knew it, we had a working fan, my friends, and I gotta say, I was a fan of that. All right, high five to us. Okay, good morning, friends. There is a lot of commotion happening, so this whole space has been blocked off and they are doing renovations over there. They are removing that entire room. It was unexpected, so we're just gonna make do.
I don't know why it's coming out all loud and squeaky, because really, I'm fine.
And work around the noise and the sound and all the things. We're blocked off and we got our space, so that's all that matters. So let's talk about what we need to do today. Each of these side pieces, the top was actually angled, but then when I cut out the L shape, it removed the angle piece, so there's actually a little gap at the top. Not ideal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use one of the decorative trim pieces that I wasn't planning on using, and I'm actually gonna secure it right to the top across the front, which means that I can cut these side pieces down so that there is no angle. I think it'll just look a little bit nicer and a lot better. There's a lot of steps that need to go in the right order, so hopefully this works out. Let's go get started on this. Okay, welcome to my little outdoor workshop. We have table saw, we have our chop saw, we have a picnic table, and we also have a dog. Right, Boo-Boo? I just felt so bad leaving him home yesterday, and the look he gave me when I got home is just a look a mother, like, it just makes you die on the inside.
I'm happy. Hooray.
So I was like, okay, I'll bring you tomorrow, but you're staying outside. So he's a happy boy. Aren't you, Boo-Boo? You happy you're here with Mommy? Yeah. This is the piece that I want to use as the top trim here. So this was the top of the footboard. So there's like this little nice little detail here. I think this is actually oak, funny enough. I think there's like a mix of wood because I don't think the actual headboard itself was made of oak, but this piece is definitely oak. So what I want to do is I'm going to tear this off and I want to cut it down so that it has a nice flat edge, and then just cut it up to the size that we need, and then we have at least a nice little trim piece that can sit at the top. Hallelujah. So once I actually installed the posts, I really didn't like the way the top decorative trim looked anymore. I felt like it needed to wrap around the entire hood to look right, and I didn't have enough of that decorative detail to let me do that. So I decided to remove it and change my plan. Now the cabinets had a bit more of a square detail at the top, so I decided that mimicking this was my best plan. I still had some scrap left over from the footboard, so I decided to salvage the trim from this. Reaching the backside of the hood vent was going to be, well, next to impossible, so I'm using a strong construction adhesive on the back. This was a particular glue that was non-slide, so this worked great for me, and then I simply put it in place, nailed it in the front where I could reach it, and basically this was going to be my technique for installing all the side pieces moving forward. Now that the trim, corner post, and the decorative detail was installed, I could finally focus on cutting the fronts. Now the front panels were going to be the most important pieces I cut, so I wanted to ensure that I prioritized the best panels from the headboard for this first and set them aside. I did need to install the side panels before I could install the front panels, just because I needed access through the front, so it was kind of like a big old puzzle build where I always had to be 5 steps ahead of myself in order to install this properly. If I did have the proper access to the sides, this conversation would be completely different, but c'est la vie. You just make it work.
Look what you're doing. Come here. No, wow, that's a weapon, sir. You're a danger to society. Stop. No, I just want to love you.
Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out how to get the most material on this thing. So I have this board and it's slotted as well, but what I'm thinking is that I can actually just cut this right in half. So if I run the blade right up the middle on one side and then do the same on the other side, I can in theory then have 2 boards instead of 1. So I feel like it's kind of getting the most bang out of my buck, only because I need to use as much as my material as I can before I need to start not using the material, which would suck.
Very well said, very well said.
So I think I'm going to cut these so that way I have a whole bunch of other material, although I have to say this side doesn't look the greatest. If I sand it, restain it, oh, Danie, what do you want to do? I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to cut this board in half. Kind of nervous, I'm not going to lie, because if this is the wrong thing to do, in theory, then it's not going to go well. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. All right, let's cut this board. Okay friends, the front side looks so good. I am done. I've cut all my pieces, so it's been set aside. It's ready to go. But what I need to do is focus on the sides now. And here's the good news. I think I'm gonna have enough material to do this all reclaimed, which I'm just so thrilled about. I really didn't want to have to buy any boards, but I have a pile here, which is all the good side. So this should be good to go. I just need to cut this to size. I also have this pile here, which is the back side of the stuff that I cut in half. Now, if I do use these, which I'm going to, it's all rough, so I'm gonna need to sand them down, restain them, and put a finish on it. So I'm gonna have to match the stains. So I'm super thrilled. I really wanted to do this with all reclaimed, so I'm just giddy with joy. This is a fun project. I think this is gonna turn out, so let's go work on that right side. Woohoo! We need to play with some stains to match up these two pieces on here. I'm not sure which one's gonna work, so I have 4 different kinds here. We have Provincial, Puritan Pine, Early American, I don't know why I have to say it that way, and Special Walnut. It's always a mixed bag, you know? What is my life right now? Ew. You know, I gotta say, after using almost every color of brown stain you could buy off the shelf, I've gotten pretty good at determining which color is going to be the right stain, but I also test just to make sure. My gut was going with Puritan Pine, and my gut did not let me down. It's like a fun game you get to play. Puritan Pine was the clear winner, so I stained up my boards, and then when that was dry, I added a protective satin finish on top. Luckily, it was a dry, warm, sunny day, so sitting in the sun, these boards did not take long to work through the stages of stain and finish. And while I was waiting on that to dry, I went and stained the top trim piece. Huzzah! It was looking smashing.
Oh my God, we finished the side. Yeah!
Friends, attaching those front pieces gave me the same emotion as watching the end of Homeward Bound when that golden retriever came stumbling out of that forest towards Peter. Pure joy and exhaustion. Pure joy and exhaustion.
Boom! Spoiler alert.
But when I got to the top, I had originally cut a small trim piece to hide some of the icky part of the board that originally sat inside a groove, but it proportionally just didn't look right. I liked the size of the mid pieces below, so luckily I had just enough board to cut and replace it, and I think it brought the whole thing together. As a last step to my day, I used scraps to cut small trim pieces that sat underneath to hide the seams. I clearly forgot to stain one edge, so there we go. Yep, struggle bus always. And I think it just really became the cherry on the cake that brought this piece all together. Well friends, it was the final day and I only had small touch-ups to do before this thing was officially kitchen ready. And the first thing was filling in all the brad nail holes. To do this, I was using fill sticks. This pack came in a bunch of colors, but I only needed to use the dark brown. For once, I didn't actually care that you could see where the holes were, because I feel like it kind of just added to that vintage antique vibe, but I really didn't want anyone to see like the little metal tips of the nails, so using the waxy fill stick was a perfect solution for this. I was also able to use this to fix some of the edges and just kind of scratched areas that were discolored. It's kind of like makeup for your furniture, and I love that. Listen, I never said I was a dancing channel, but oh boy, do I love to dance. I finally gave this thing a proper clean, and as a last step, I covered the entire hood vent in Howard's Feed and Wax wood polish and conditioner. I love this stuff. It smells like oranges, and it just leaves that antique wood with a beautiful hydrated shine.
Well, DIY friends, I gotta say this project turned out way better than I expected. I mean, I knew it was gonna be beautiful, but like, this is beautiful. I just think it completely transforms the whole room. It warms it up. It gives it a focal point, and like, you just can't stop staring at it. It's just so lovely. I love how it just brings this like warm antique-y vibe to a very modernized kitchen. I wish everyone would do this in their kitchen. If you have the ability to create a custom hood vent, this is the play. Honestly, big thanks to Erica for inspiring this project. I don't know if I ever would have thought to do this, and it's just absolutely epic. You guys should let me know, what did you think of this transformation? Could you see yourself doing something like this in your own kitchen? Comment down below, give this video a big thumbs up, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, because we got more epic DIYs coming this summer, coming this fall, and in the foreseeable future.
future, so you don't want to miss out. Also sending so much love to my Patreon family. If you are looking for a place to share your DIYs, get advice, or maybe just share some nerdy love, my Patreon is definitely the place for you. I have linked it in my description box. But of course, my friends, as always, stay positive, stay creative, and keep on DIYing. Bye-bye. I am just so jealous and so inspired. Like, I want this piece in my house. I'm like, all right, Jeffrey, buckle up because we're doing a whole kitchen makeover.